What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Bundesliga Career Mode. This is episode number 10. We start today's stuff on the back of our defeat to Mainz. 3 losses in our last 4 games. We'll look at the league table. As you can see, Bayern 6 points clear of Dortmund, going for that title once again. For Mönchengladbach in 6th. We're currently 7 points behind with 7 games to go. And we've got a far worse goal difference record as well. Now, the good thing is knowing that with 35 points on the board for our first 27 games, we're 13 clear of Hertha Berlin and have a far better goal difference record as well. So the likelihood is now we're going to be safe. Even though we've had 3 losses in our last 4 and back-to-back defeats to Mainz and Borussia Dortmund respectively, we should, be safe for another season. I always say, and I don't know why I do this, man, but I'm always like, mathematically, there's still a chance that this could happen or this might happen. But realistically, we know we're probably going to be safe in the Bundesliga for another year. The question is, after 3 losses in our last 4, can we now make up the ground on Borussia Mönchengladbach, catch up to them, and qualify for the Europa Conference League? Well, if we're going to do it, 7 games to go. See our scouting update and academy over here. Martin looks like an amazing young goalkeeper, doesn't he? 15-year-old, 62 overall rated goalkeeper just picked up. If we're going to do it, we need to win, I'd say, at least 5 of our last 7 games. And our 5 games coming this month are pretty tough as well, including Bayern Munich, the league leaders, going for the championship once again. So it's going to be tough. And after a poor run of form, we're not really feeling much confidence right now. But to be fair, I still believe there is a chance. The most important thing to me is that if I can't defend, which evidently has been the case all season long, I've got to put the ball in the back of the net on a more consistent basis. No goals in our last 2 games, back-to-back 2-0 losses. That's going to have to improve. So first game of today's episode was Stuttgart, first of the 5 coming in this month of April, and a massive game here at the Stuttgart Arena. Poor run of form, 3 defeats in our last 4, with a chance to get back to winning ways here against Stuttgart. We had the first good chance of the game. Pfeiffer also going down with an injury, but it was still 0-0. And in the second half, 8 minutes after the restart, trying to get us in front. Great cross in the middle by Wimmer, finding Okugawa, but what a save that was. Turned over the bar as it was still goalless. I felt we'd been the slightly better team in this game. I'd had some good chances, but like the previous 2 games, just couldn't find that goal. And with 22 minutes to go, Stuttgart got 1 golden chance in the second half, and they took it as well. Marmouche finding a little bit of space at the near post, bending it home, making it 1-0, and that was how the game would finish. 3 straight losses, 4 in 5. 3 games without a goal, and again, didn't play too badly. Felt I was the slightly better team, but I often say this phrase in this year's FIFA: good is not good enough against the AI on Ultimate. A loss there, 1-0 the final score. And following the game, we saw this as well. Brian Lasme, now briefly at the start of the episode, you might have missed it, it went by so quickly, was asking for a new contract. And I've barely played him this season. In fact, I've barely played him at all. He's had like 2 games all season long. He's absolutely rapid, this guy. I believe he's got one of the highest pace measurements in the Bundesliga. Having said that, I haven't really given him much game time. He submitted a transfer request, but then I was thinking, well, to be honest, mate, 69 overall, 23 years old, you're valued at 2.7 mil. You've got 3 years left on your contract, bro. Like, you've got 3 years and 3 months remaining. So he's got a release clause of 4.6 mil. And I'm just going to say to any club that puts a bid in, because now he's on a transfer list, he'll get quite a lot of bids. I'm just going to say, look, I'm not selling unless you meet the release clause. Because I've got no need to. I've got no need to sell him. I've got 3 years. It's like Ben Simmons with the 76. It's like, yeah, he wants to go, but mate, you're under contract. Like, you know what I mean? You signed it. So if you want to go, you're going to have to wait until someone meets the release clause. To be fair to Lasme, again, I've barely played him this season. He's got 1 goal coming off the bench in the Bundesliga. I believe he started our DFB Pokal game to Borussia Dortmund as well. Our defeat earlier on in the season. But I've just preferred Kruger. Obviously, Kruger's now gone down with that long-term injury, so won't see him again until the end of the season. He's been missing for this second half of the campaign. And obviously, with Kloss being the record goal scorer for Bielefeld and Sarah, who is higher rated, Lasme just struggles to get a game in this team. So moving on is probably the right thing to do, but not for anything less than release clause. We've got plenty of time. There's no need to panic sell whatsoever. Still, following game, Wolfsburg away. Massive clash here. 4 defeats in our last 5 games. Really poor run of form, and 3 straight games without a goal or a point Wolfsburg away, we needed to change our fortunes. Fell behind, but got back on level terms through Wimmer, the Austrian, firing an equaliser. We find a goal to level the score, make it 1-1, and then later on, 15 minutes to go, what a save by Ortega, our standing captain this year, keeping it 1-1, and finally, talk about relief. Now, we're not back to winning ways. It is one win in our last 6 games now, but I'll certainly take a point and stopping the rot. Finally got a goal after none in our last 3 straight defeats on the trot. Glad to get a point there away against Wolfsburg. But to be fair, the difficulty continues here with Bielefeld as Lasme, and again gets a bid here from Bournemouth. Once again, it falls short of the release clause, so no point in selling him. Might as well keep him with 3 years left in his deal. The challenge continues to remain an incredibly difficult one, and in our following game, with just 1 win in our last 6, Bayern Munich leading the league, going for the championship once again. If we were to lose this game, any European dream was effectively over. So we had to beat Bayern Munich to keep our European hopes alive. You know, this has been such a difficult season. We've had obviously quite a lot of injuries to deal with. Finn Ole Becker and obviously Kruger, the most noteworthy ones this season. So many games where I've played well, just haven't had the rub of the green. And some games where admittedly I've been dominated, including Bayern Munich away this season at the Allianz. And heading into this game, I didn't start off too badly, to be fair. I was keeping the door pretty closed on Bayern for a while, but 33 minutes in, oh my goodness, Robert Lewandowski, what a goal! How could I have stopped that right in the top corner? Bayern get themselves in front, and right before the break, still down by a goal. Needed a miracle, really, and we got one. A bit of a gaff from Manuel Neuer, but we will take it. Raphael Meyer out of the academy. Decided to give him a start in this game. Thought, why not? Haven't really been winning many games or picking up many points recently. Why not give the kid a go? Meyer smacks it in near post. It should have been kept out, but we don't mind. So at half time, we were level with Bayern Munich, and I was thinking, I'll tell you what, it might not be a win, but this will be a huge result to give us that glimmer of hope to qualify for Europe that we've been desperate for in recent weeks. Well, 13 minutes after the restart, that hope was dashed. Thomas Müller, who scored a hat-trick against us in the reverse fixture, I believe, makes it 2-1, restores the lead for Bayern. And quite frankly, again, this was just one of those games where I was up against a far better team, and I knew I'd need a miracle to get something from it. And with 11 minutes to go, so close to deja vu. Like in the first half, Meyer storming down left, just couldn't get it on target, smacked it into the side net, and that was how the game would finish. I put up a decent fight against Bayern. As you see by the stats here, I didn't play too badly at all, but still lost the game by 2-1. It's now 5 defeats in 7 games, I believe. And that practically ends it now. Yet we're 10 points behind Mönchengladbach and have the far worse goal difference record. And with just 4 games to go, well, you do the maths. We need to win all 4 of our remaining games. And Mönchengladbach need to lose, well, at least 3 of the 4. And basically not win any more games between now and the end of the season. Basically, it is all over and we're not going to qualify for Europe. And the challenge has been so great in this second half of the season in particular. We went on a fantastic run earlier on in the season to take us away from the relegation spots and give us that slight chance qualifying for Europe. But really, it's just been such a tough debut year with Bielefeld. And defensively in particular, I've really, really struggled. Another game here where we failed to keep a clean sheet. 3 minutes of stoppage time. God knows where they came from in this game away against Köln, and we fell behind right before the half-time whistle. It's just been such a tough season, but do you know what? I can't really complain because, you know, this is what I asked for. I can imagine everyone saying, this is what you asked for, Docs. This is what you wanted, mate. You wanted a challenge, and you've got one. You wanted a difficult season, and you've got one. This has been a really tough first year with Bielefeld, and I've really, really been stretched here in this first season. Even playing really well in certain games hasn't been enough. But again, it's what I asked for, man. This is what I wanted. I know it's been tough and frustrating and challenging, but to be fair, I can't complain. This is what I wanted. I didn't want a first season where I qualify for the Champions League. I wanted a tough one, and we've got it. And in this game against Köln, well, how about this? We were behind for most of the game, but late on, I've talked about goalkeepers in this year's FIFA and their distribution at times being shocking. What was that? One back quickly, ball through to Okugawa, and talk about the composure from our Japanese attacking midfielder, who to me is our player of the season. Köln won, Bielefeld won. I was pushing for a late winner in the game. I knew that our chance of Europe had basically gone, but after a horrific run, 1 win in 7, I wanted to get back to winning ways here. I was pushing for a winner, I was throwing bodies forward, but instead, after surrendering possession, Köln came forward for one last chance, and Lubasic wins it. in stoppage time. And I was thinking, I can't believe this. First half, there were 3 added minutes of extra time allowed, even though the 4th official didn't even indicate a single minute added on. And then in the second half, there was only supposed to be 1 added minute, and they scored in the second. Typical. It's not Fergie time, it's Köln time. They scored both of their shots, both in injury time, in both halves, and ended up winning the game 2-1. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, the frustration at the end of that game. I was gripping the controller so hard. I'm surprised I didn't break it. But I was thinking, again, I can't really complain. As frustrating, as annoying, as challenging as it is, I hear the cries. This is what you wanted. This is what you asked for, mate. You didn't want to win the title in Season 1. You didn't want to walk into a team where you qualify for the Champions League for Season 2, then win it in the second year. No, you wanted a real challenge. Well, you've got one with Bielefeld. I think I just underestimated how difficult it was going to be. Anyway, the following game, and after a horrific run of form, 1 win in our last 8 games, we would take on Hertha Berlin for our final game at the Stuttgart Arena in April. And heading into the game, I was like, come on, man. These guys are basically relegated. If they lose this game, they will be relegated. Surely this is the game. Our return to winning ways. And finally, we pick up our 2nd win, just our 2nd win in 9 games, and get a big 3 points. Okugawa has been the one bright spot of this otherwise really damp season, scores the only goal of the game, as we finally get a clean sheet for the first time in God knows how long, and get a win as well. 1-0 the final score. Our poor run of form finally ended against Hertha Berlin. That puts them down to the 2nd Liga as well, as they're now relegated. So you best believe in the summer I'll be looking to raid some of their decent young talent. But as for the season, as you can see, 2 games to go. The only question is now, where will we finish? We can finish as high as 7th or as low as 13th place. 2 games to go. It's been a tough season, but this is what I asked for. Let's just hope for a strong finish. But that will end today's episode of the Bundesliga Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the season finale very soon.